Balance isn't about having it all together. It's about giving yourself grace. Hey friend, you're listening to Balancing the Scales, the podcast where we dive into real life, real talk, and real moments. I'm Tammy, wife, millennial mama of 2, and your new audio bestie. This is the space where we can talk about juggling the beautiful chaos of life, from friendships to relationships to having conversations about parenting and love and marriage to even some pop culture tea and everything in between that may cause the scales to tip sometimes. Because let's be honest, the juggle is real and you are not alone. So wherever you're listening from, grab your tea, your coffee, or your wine. I've got my cup too. It's time to turn the mic on and let's get into today's episode.
Hello and welcome back to the podcast. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys had a great week. We are just wrapping up all things Halloween here. It's now November 1st, so everyone is in now this Christmas holiday spirit, which I love, but I feel like there was no pause. It was just like midnight Christmas, or even before that, like the week of Halloween was Christmas. But I love that for you guys. Get into the Christmas spirit. If you're up decorating your house earlier to keep it up, great, go you. But I think we're a family that we just put up our Christmas decorations maybe like 2 weeks before Christmas. I don't even know what's going to happen this year because we have a 9-month-old running around and a 5-year-old. So I don't even know if our tree is going to last, or like the bottom half of our tree might not be decorated because my daughter's on the move. But anyway, how are we feeling this week? Let's get into our scale check before we get into the episode. So our scale check, what's happening? Which way are we feeling? Are we lifted up? Are we feeling weighed down? A little bit in between, or all of the above? Just let me know in the DMs. But for me, I'm kind of weighed down this week. It's been an exhausting week because taking my kids out onto all these activities for Halloween, which was just like nonstop. We had our last one this past weekend, the 1st of November, actually. We had a huge trunk or treat at our local baseball field, but the wind, I think the coldness like made us even more tired because it was strong and left me with like such a massive headache. But there's other things happening kind of with my personal life that's just like leaving me in limbo, and I'm uncertain on which way to move, and I'm getting like a feedback that kind of conflicts me in a little bit, and I don't know how to respond. And I spoke with my husband about it, and we're just kind of not, he didn't say what I wanted to hear really, but in hindsight, I guess it's the truth. Like, I guess you were right. I don't know. It's just leaving such a nasty taste in my mouth, and I don't know which way to move with it, but I got to keep going and I guess keep showing up, because that's what you do in life, you know, and everything is in God's plan, which I gave it up to him. I said my prayers and I left it up to God to be like, look, if this is a blessing that's supposed to happen, bring it on. I'll embrace it. And if not, continue to block. But I'm going to move in whichever way you want me to, Lord. So that's where it's at right now. It's above me now. But other than that, it's just now, as I was saying earlier, we're into the holiday spirit, the Christmas season, which I think is like a month-long thing. People pause for like 2 days for Thanksgiving, and then it's right back to Christmas. So we're planning all the things. Now I have to figure out outfits for our family pictures and when to schedule those, and then meetups with Santa, all the breakfasts with Santas. And I'm one now because I'm a mom of 2, and this is my daughter's first like big holiday season. I'm going all out. If you looked on my personal Instagram page, you saw for Halloween, she had like several outfits and costumes. I did the same thing for my son for his first year, so I have to just keep the traditions going. My son's costumes this year, he was Sonic. We did a family themed Ninja Turtle costume. He was Spider-Man because that was the last minute costume I ordered for his school. If you listen to a previous episode, you know that I had a little mommy brain, but it all worked out. He was Spider-Man. And then Yeah, he had 3 costumes. My daughter, she was a bumblebee. She also had a Ninja Turtle costume because that was our family costume. And then she was just like pumpkins. Like I had her in little rompers and sweatshirts, so she just wore pumpkins. She had her first Halloween onesie on that I took her pictures for, and that was pretty much it. And what was I? I was a Ninja Turtle. I think I was Donatello because that's the one who wears the glasses. And then I was a tired mom. That's my costume. But that's me 365 days. And speaking of being tired, the time change. Our clocks went back 1 hour this week. So to all the parents out there, to all the moms, I'm with you because my kids were up by 6:45, which is really 7:45. So I get it, their internal clocks were off. But I wasn't prepared for waking up on Sunday at 6:45. And this is after we did 4 hours of a trunk or treat and activities and a Halloween parade. We come home Saturday, like exhausted. They both went to sleep by like 8 o'clock. But for them to be up at 6:45 on a Sunday, I was feeling it. Like my head is exploding. But that's where we are. And by the time this episode airs, which I'm really excited, my husband and I attended or will attend, I don't know which way to phrase it, a Knicks game. I'm so excited for this. This is Knicks versus Wizards. And this was his birthday gift. We're 2 months after, but that's what we do. We're parents now. I had to find tickets to coordinate with our work schedules and trying to find days where my parents have the kids because that's where they'll be at when we're at the game. But I'm so excited to go to this game. It's been a while. I think like 2 years since we've been to a game together. It's something that we like. He's a huge sports guy. He loves his Knicks. I think the record is not so great now. By the time I'm recording this podcast, I think they're like 3-3, and they had like a couple of games on the road because that's what he was telling me. But we're going to this game, so hopefully this is speaking into the future now. I'm speaking this into existence, that the Knicks win while we're there, because then he'll be in a good mood and the ride back will be pleasant, and I hope he just enjoys it. So this is his birthday gift, taking my man to go see the Knicks, taking my man to go see his men play. So go sports, go Knicks. I'm really not a sports girl. I just support whatever team my man likes, and I root for them. Like, you know that episode of the Kardashians where Khloe Kardashian was like to Lamar, I'm not a reality star. No, I'm sorry. When Khloe said to Lamar, like, I'm not a housewife. I'm not a basketball wife. You're a reality star husband. Like, I know of players based off of who they're dating or who they're married to. That's the type of girl I am. It is what it is. And my husband has accepted that, because even when he talks to me about the players, he'll be like, he'll say their name or their number. I have such a question look on my face, and then he's just like, oh, okay, you know, so and so. He'll name like the girl, the wife, and I'm like, oh yeah, and he'll be like, yeah, that's the husband. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like Travis Kelce, I only know of him not because of Taylor Swift, but I only know of him because I watched his reality show Chasing Kelce back in the day on E. Like, that was my show, and I tuned into that. I didn't know that he was actually a professional football player, let alone know what team he played for, until realizing, like, when they were in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs versus, I don't even know who they played, a couple of years. And I was like, oh, that guy. And I was like saying, oh, he had a reality show, not even his stats. But I think that's most girls, right? Don't blame me. I'm just a girl out here living my life. So looking forward to the next game tomorrow by the time this is airing. And it's going to be a great date night too. It's been over a year maybe since we've had some one-on-one time, because the beginning of this year I was pregnant, gave birth, and then we're just doing the thing of now juggling 2 kids and working in a full household. So it's just great to know that we have a few hours to ourselves, to mommy and daddy together, and just, you know, having some fun time. And I think it'll be great for him too to see this game live and to watch the players, because we have like a huge screen TV in our house, that my husband got for him, thinking that he could watch all his games and his sports and his highlights. But when you become a parent, you quickly learn that the TV is not for you, it's for the kids. So this poor guy has been watching all his sports and his highlights on his phone while the kids took over our TV. It's either Miss Rachel, Blippi, Bluey, or I don't even know what my son watches, Spider-Man, those type of shows, while he's tuning in on his games on his phone. So I think he deserved this. So this is his birthday gift, and it'll be just great for me to just be out too and not be on mommy duty for one night. So thank you to the grandparents for watching the kids. Go Knicks, and let's get into it. So this is going to be a fun one. I'm excited for this episode. So I figured, since you guys really don't know me other than what I say in the introduction of my episodes of my name, I'm Tammy, that I am a mom of 2. I am a wife. I also have a full-time job outside of podcasting, and now podcasting is added onto my resume, as well as other things like I'm an amazing friend. I'm an amazing daughter. I think I'm a great sister. I have 2 brothers, one older, one younger. We're 8 years apart each. So my older brother is 8 years older than me. My younger brother is 8 years younger than me. Middle child, only girl. I just figured I could dive in a little bit in a couple future episodes of Whatnot to let you guys know a little bit about me here and there. And to start it off, and to keep with the theme of last week's episode about relationships and marriage and how marriage changes once you have kids, I figured I'll start off with my love story on how I met my husband. And it's a great week because by the time this episode airs this coming week on the 6th, we will be celebrating 15 years together, which is wild saying it out loud, and that it's been that long, but it seems so quickly. And sometimes I still feel like I was that teenage girl falling in love in the summer of 2009. This is actually a really great platform, especially for my kids, that if they want to hear the story of how mom and dad met, they could listen to this episode. I could play it back for them. So it's really cool to have this platform, kind of a recorded diary, that they could hear this story. And I'm sure they're going to hear it for the rest of their lives anyway. So let's get into it. We are flashing back to the summer of 2009. Again, this is before social media, before all the dating apps, before all the dating TV shows. It's rare on how I met my husband. We didn't have all the social means that we have now. There was no sliding into anyone's DMs. We actually met at work. We both worked at our town's summer day camp. This was in June of 2009. We met on orientation. So to bring it back a little further, I was a summer camp counselor prior to that, 2 summers prior to that, but for the part-time day camp. To qualify to work at the full-time day camps, you had to be 18 years old. So summer 2009, I was already 18, and I was like, perfect. I have nothing else going on for me that summer before school. Just to make some money and to have a great summer, why not continue working at camp? And I actually worked at the camps prior with some of my best friends, who I'm still best friends with now. And that summer of 2009, I actually worked with one of my really good friends who I met in high school. I don't know if she wants me to say her name, but hey girl, we actually started at the camp together. So we walk into orientation. We are probably one of the newbies, the new staff of that summer, because we walk into the classroom. Everyone is chit-chatting amongst themselves. All the staff, I'm assuming they knew each other before because they probably worked together summers before. A lot of them went to the same schools as well, so they all knew each other and they're kikiing it up. And me and my best friend, we walk in kind of reserved and shy and observing because we don't know anyone other than each other. And against on a windowsill in the classroom, there's a group of guys, and I spot who I didn't know at the time was my future husband standing next to his brother, but I didn't know that was his brother at that time. So my future brother-in-law. They kind of stood out because my brother-in-law is really tall, and I've seen his face around before because we are the same age. Not my husband, my brother-in-law, we're the same age. My husband is 2 years older than me. And I know people who knew of my brother-in-law because they were in the same grade as him and other activities and all that stuff. But I never met my husband before until this day. Now, to go a little backstory on this, my town where I grew up in is really small. Everybody knows everyone. A lot of the people I know went to the same high school. I didn't go to that high school. I went to a private high school with my best friend where we met. So we didn't really know all the staff was there, like all the staff members who were there. We just knew of ourselves, as I said before. But because of like my family members, my cousins and stuff, they all went to that local public high school. So I knew of some of their friends and hearing stories of who they associated with. And my future brother-in-law's name was, around in conversations, but I didn't know he was related to my husband until later in our relationships and all that, once that all developed. So camp orientation comes around and the directors, are giving the spiel of their expectations from the summer. We get like our groups of kids who are going to be assigned to. The camp was divided into 2 groups, seniors and juniors. Juniors were kids entering kindergarten through 4th grade, and seniors were kids entering 5th grade and up. I was assigned to kindergartners. It was my first year, so I was okay with that. And usually the newbies were paired with someone who worked at the camp prior, who had prior camp experience. So we had co-counselors. And my husband, I think that year, he had 5th graders because he's been there for some time. Orientation is over, or we're on a break at this point. He comes over to me with his brother. He comes over to me and my best friend. He introduces himself first. I wasn't going to. I don't know nobody. I don't know this man. And I was also very shy. I still am. I'm like a very introverted person until you get to know me. Then I'm just loud, more outgoing, and talk nonstop. That's just my personality. So I wasn't going to say who I was first. So he told me his name, said, hi, nice to meet you, look forward to working with you or whatever. See you around the summer, see you around the first day of camp, and go about my business. First day of camp rolls around, we get the kiddos, camp is happening, but I found myself like looking towards his attention for like the duration of the summer and trying to be around him more, even though our camp schedules were different with like the activities and the specials we had to attend. Because I was a junior, he was a senior, we were on rotating schedules, so we would never be at the same activities or even near each other at the same time. But I caught myself trying to be around him. Like if I knew his grade was in art, I was trying to find a way to walk through the hallways of the classroom where the art class was, just so he could kind of spot me. Or like pool days, we would go to the pools 3 times a week, and kind of the counselors took that not as a free-for-all, but the kids are in the pool, you watch them, they do their buddy check, but at the same time, like we would be either in the water, and I'm a great swimmer, so I'm showing off at this point in the summer and trying to make him notice me. Like I was 18 that summer, very juvenile thinking and trying to impress this guy for whatever reason. Like he really was attractive to me. He had such a great personality. He was so outgoing and so funny, and I was so drawn to that, and I really liked that. The crush was developing hard. And then as the summer went on, we wrapped in August. We had a lot of like staff dinners after camp where we would just hang out either at someone's house or go out to eat and try to get to know one another and kiki and talk about all the drama or whoever was hooking up with who that summer and all that stuff. So we actually had our first date one-on-one with each other in August at Fire and Ice at our local mall. It is no longer there, which is so sad, but that's where our first date was. And even the conversation we were having was like, look, we know we're both going away back to school. What are we doing? How are we going to keep doing this? Like, are we going to keep in touch and whatnot? And I know we talked about like, we understand that we're both at 2 different colleges. I was away at school in the Bronx. He was away at school in Rhode Island, and it was going to be his senior year. So I had the expectation of, I know what you're going to be doing when you're away at school. Do that. It's your senior year. Have fun. Rock out. And then just know that when you come home, I'm still here. You still have me. Because in my head at that time, he was mine. He was my man. Like the crush was there very hard for me. I was falling hard for this man. And in my head, he was my man. I don't know what was going on in Vlad's head at this time, but he was mine, even though I knew the reality was we're going away at two different schools. So the fall semester starts. I'm away at school in my sophomore year. He's at school in his senior year doing his thing. But we were still kind of keeping in touch, texting, and we were on Uvu a lot. Again, this is before FaceTime and all the fancy technology and all that stuff. So Uvu was the thing back then. That was the video chat. There were like Uvu parties people would sign on and you have multiple people on. Uvu was lit. But that's what we would do to just keep in touch because, quote unquote, that was like our long distance relationship, even though we never made it official. So his birthday comes around. His birthday's in September. And funny enough, he is also a Libra. My husband's birthday is the first day of Libra season. He's the cusp baby. He's a September Libra. So yes, a Libra fell in love with a Libra. It's been a very fun relationship and it's a very fun household here. So two Libras falling in love, it's a great time. The only reason why I remember this specific moment is because of those dreaded Facebook memories that come up every year and just remind you how cringy you were at a certain time, like with the way you wrote statuses with the small letters and capital letters and what you were saying, because Facebook was different back then. It was more like, well, I guess for me or the people I surrounded myself with, it was more like a diary because it would ask you like, what's on your mind? And you would literally say like, going to the grocery store, hit me up, or is bored, BBM me. So he wrote a Facebook status because it was his birthday, thanking everyone for all the birthday wishes and all the love or whatever. And then he also wrote something in particular, shouting out his ex-girlfriend for doing something. And when I read that message, I was heartbroken. I was devastated. Like, it ripped right through me and I lost it. I was sobbing. I called my two friends who were away with me at school, my two best friends. We went to the same college and we met up, like, I think either at the lounge in our dorms, and I'm boo-hooing to them, crying, letting my heart out to them about this man. And of course, they're my girls. They're rallying up behind me and being very supportive and saying all the right things. But I was like so done with him. Like, it hurt, but then I was like, that's it. No contact. I'm not talking to this man anymore. He broke me. Again, I was 18 still. So what did I do? The typical girl things. I wanted to block him on all platforms. He was blocked on my text messages. I think I had like a Palm Trio or something where you had, I can't think of the name. Oh, I think I had a BlackBerry at this time. So he was blocked on my BBM list. He was blocked on Facebook, or muted if you can at this time. He was blocked on Twitter. But the only thing I kept him on was on my AIM. Just because I was writing AIM statuses about him and how heartbroken I was. And I wanted him to see that those messages were about him. And he knew that I knew what he did. Because that's the only right thing to do, right? Like, you got to write about how heartbroken you were either in the away message statuses or put up like song lyrics that stated how heartbroken you were. And I did exactly that. And I wanted him to see it, to know it, but only on AIM. Everything else, if you're trying to reach out to me, you were blocked. So no communication the rest of the fall semester. After he was blocked, my birthday rolls around 2 weeks later. And then my friends decided to throw me a surprise party at one of their houses. They worked up for me to come home that weekend, and they surprised me with a house party, which was really cute, and it was local, and just try to keep my mind off of this heartbreak and devastating news to me because it was really damaging. But they didn't invite my husband. They invited like his friends and his brother, but they didn't invite him. Petty, I know, but it's what we do, what girls do, what we did. It's happened. So we're both on school break. School's on break for both of us for the Christmas and New Year's season. And through my cousin and a mutual friend, I know there's a house party, and I know that he was going to be at this house party. So I want to go and show face and let him know, like, hey, this is what you're missing out on. And of course I did. Mama was outside at that time. you can catch me outside now. Anytime after 8 p.m., you want me to dress up in heels and put on a full face of makeup? Not happening now. But back then, it definitely did. I had my time, and it was a time. So we're both at this house party. Drinks are flowing, you know, all this stuff. I'm socializing, kikiing, whatever. And I see him, you know, throughout the party, but we're not talking to each other at the party. But somehow, as the night goes on, we end up next to each other and we get into it. Of course, we're like not at the right state of mind because we're drinking. And then he just asked me to bring him home. So I drive him home or to his parents' house. And we actually pull up to a parking lot, like across the street at a store. And we're outside. And it's like, this is the middle of winter. It's like snowing. And we're going back and forth like, you hurt me. No, you hurt me. This is what you did. This is how I felt. And we're letting our emotions out. We're both Libras. We're very emotional. We're very dramatic. It was a scene. But in the middle of that, he blurs out that he loves me. Literally says, I love you. I should have prefaced this whole story by saying this is Tammy's version. This is my recollection of our love story. But if you ask Vlad, he probably had a different version and different thoughts. But this is Tammy's version. So we're back. He tells me, I love you. And I'm just like, no, you don't. If you love me, you wouldn't have hurt me the way you did and all this stuff. But he was like, it's not true. This is what happened, blah, blah, blah. Then we end the night there. And even throughout the break, like his friends are hitting me up and like saying, Tammy, this is not how it went down. And, you know, he's not with his ex and all this stuff. But I took it how I read it and I ran with it. I didn't want to hear anything else. No one could change my mind. I didn't want to hear anything from anyone. That man broke my heart. And it's so juvenile and childish because he wasn't mine to claim, but he was mine. Like, you know, do you get it? Anyway, so second semester starts. It's now the new year. I'm still not talking to him, but he's still on the back of my mind. And of course, I'm still lurking, even though he's blocked, but I'm lurking, seeing what he's doing, trying to keep tabs on him. Then I knew his graduation was coming up in May. So I sent him a text message like, hey, congratulations on graduating. Then like hours pass by. I'm in the cafeteria. Then I receive a text message saying, who is this? I was distraught. Like that hurt. That hurt more than seeing the Facebook status, because now this tells me that like you blocked me or you deleted my number. He's playing the same games that I was playing, but to receive it back was not the best feeling. And I was so hurt. I was like, okay, that's it. I didn't even respond back. But I still don't know if he really didn't know who it was, if he really deleted my number, or if he was just playing games. And if he was playing games, good one, Vladimir. But that hurt. It really burned. And I didn't show like any reaction to who I was with in the cafeteria. I just kept it to myself and I just moved on. Because I think at that point, my friends were tired of hearing about this guy and how he really hurt me. So I was just trying to keep it all to myself. But man, I was like, oh God, this can't be real. So this was May. Summertime rolls around again. It's June. We're back at camp for summer orientation and we see each other. We actually say hi and try to break that ice. I guess, we grew up and matured a little bit. And summer comes around and then he, like years later, he was telling me he wasn't sure if he was going to come back that summer of 2010 now, because he just graduated from college and he had things set up at school and he was already like living off campus and living with his roommates or frat brothers and had internships and jobs lined up, but he wasn't sure until last minute for him to come back to camp. And I'm kind of glad he did, because that summer, the rest of camp, now I'm in the same group as him. We both have senior kids. Like I think he was back with his 6th graders. I had like 5th graders. So we were going on the same trips. We were like on the bus. So we're starting to flirt again and the ice is broken at this point, and feelings are growing and we're being more touchy-feely. We come up with like a nickname for each other. at camp. So instead of calling each other babe and making it like super obvious, even though it already was, we were calling each other buddy. And he like made me a picture in art class that said like to buddy from buddy, which I still have, and it was so cute. But we were calling each other buddy and being very touchy-feely, or making ways to like be around each other and touch each other. And I think the other staff members knew, this is so funny, that like we were official but not official again. But something about that summer love, that summer romance, the air, I don't know, the heat of the summer times just makes you, want to fall in love. And we were just kind of rekindling that relationship, that vibe from the prior summer to this one, even though with everything that went on throughout the school year, which I'm glad it happened when it did, because it brought us to where we were. Like, he soaked his oats. He got out whatever he had to get out at school. I did the same thing. Now I know he's done with school. He grew up, and now I could claim this man as mine officially, even though he still was in my head. I never let him go, but it was just great to kind of be around him, and it felt very comfortable. So one of the funny stories that happened that summer was, again, we're keeping up with like the staff traditions of always going out. And one of the places we would always go to was Buffalo Wild Wings, because it was like 25-cent wings on Tuesday. And at that time, on a camp counselor paycheck, which when you're making only a couple $100s, that was like the meal you could afford. And it was like a full meal. You got wings, fries, and a drink. What else could you ask for like $10? So he wanted to do this challenge where you had to eat about 25 of like their suicidal wings, their spiciest wings, under 45 minutes or under an hour. Only have like 2 glasses of water in between. And if you completed the challenge, you won a t-shirt and your picture was on the wall or something like that. So what does he want to do? Of course he volunteers to do it. And that's, quote, my man, so I'm gonna stick beside him. So I'm cheering him on, helping him eat these wings, passing him napkins or whatever. And then he completes the challenge and he decides to lay one on me. I don't like hot food. I am very sensitive to spice. Even though I'm Haitian, Caribbean girl, I do not eat anything spicy. Not at all. I cannot tolerate it. I have a very sensitive palate. Okay? And when he did that, I was just like, oh my God, my mouth is on fire. That is like one memory that I will never forget. And I was like, why would you do that? But it was cute. Like, I was upset at him, but it was still cute, because it was like one of those moments like, yeah, you won, cute. And you kiss me like that passionate, like winner's kiss. But it was a spicy food. But that was one of those cute moments that happened. And again, the summer is over. I know I'm going back to school into my junior year. We have the same conversation, but this time he decided to stay home and not go back to Rhode Island to do whatever he had to do with his jobs or whatever. He wanted to stay home, which I appreciate. I hope it was really for me. I went away to school, but I was finding myself coming back home more often just to see him, to be around him. We also arranged for him to come up to visit me while I was away during like my school's homecoming, but his car broke down on the way there, and he had like a janky car. But his car broke down on the way to try to see me, so I was really bummed. But we arranged for him to he slept over and stayed the weekend with me. Sorry, Mom, if you're hearing this, I'm just realizing I said that. He did sleep over. But we're married now, so it's okay. And I introduced him to my roommate. He met more of my dance team members. Shout out to Flava. And we're keeping in touch that way for like that month and a half until I came back home on a weekend. He wanted me home on a specific weekend in November, and I did. Came home, we went to his house, his living at home with his parents, and I think we're like, a game is on. He's watching one of the sports games, which is not shocking. He's a huge sports man. A lot of the New York teams. He loves his New York teams. Knicks, Giants, Rangers, and we go into his kitchen. And that's where he asked me to be his girlfriend. And I'm like, duh, what took you so long? Like, of course. And it was really cute. Very simple. Different, I guess, to what will happen now. But it was so cute. And that was on November 6th, 2010. And it made it official and it solidified it for me. And I was kind of on him throughout, like, if you're going to ask me on a significant date. Like, I love numbers or dating numbers just so I could remember and just to celebrate it. So now every year for the past 15 years, we celebrate every 6th. And then we also celebrate the number of our wedding anniversary, the 19th. So it was just very cute that he took that to heart. And he also told me he chose the number 6 because his favorite number is 5. My favorite number is 7. In the middle between 5 and 7 is 6. So it was cute that he did that. So that was the beginning of our story. And then things just blossomed from there. And then to be cuter, on our 1-year anniversary, 2011, he gave me a promise ring. Now, I know some people are just like, why give a promise ring? I was like 21. Like, why give a promise ring instead of engagement ring? I actually thought it was very thoughtful that he gave me this promise ring. And I wore that until he gave me my engagement ring. And I took that to heart, that promise ring. It was a very beautiful promise ring that he got. And he spent money on it. And, you know, so if I was 21 when he gave it to me a year later, he was 23. So to be at that age and to spend, you know, a couple $100s on jewelry that's not even yours, I thought was such a big sacrifice. And that shows the testament to this man that he loves me down. Like, Vlad is very patient with me because I know I'm a lot. Even though I come off as shy, I know once you get to know me and for the people that are close to me and that I love, I know I'm a headache. And I know I was entitled growing up and spoiled by my parents, but he definitely put up with me and is patient with me. And he knew that and knew the type of girl he was going to get into. And the things that he's done for me, the things that he said, and the way that he supports me and loves me in all my ways, I'm just very forever grateful for that. And I'm forever grateful for the summer of 2009. I'm forever grateful for the camp that we worked at. Shout out to CNE and all the staff members. Like, it was a great time. I loved working at summer camp. It was cool to just work with my friends, but to find love out of it unexpectedly was just amazing. And it brought me to here, to now being his wife, to being his missus, to being the mother of his kids, and to produce the 2 beautiful babies that we have. And my son is mini him, like, looks like his father. It's wild. Looking at my husband's like baby pictures and childhood pictures, and then seeing my son's pictures around my house, I'm like, okay, I literally just spit out Vladimir. But I'm just happy that I met him. And I always told him I'm happy I met him when I did, because if I would have met you earlier, like in school or anything, I don't think we would have been together, or it would have been, our love story wouldn't have went the way it did. I'm just very grateful I met him when I did, when he was older, more mature, and the fact that we took that break from school so he can do his thing, I could do my thing. But we met up when we did, and we still grew up together, because we met, again, I was 18 turning 19, he was 20 turning 21, because there was a moment that happened that first summer, kind of involved the authorities, and because we were underage, we got in a little bit of trouble because no one was 21. So that's how I also remember the significant ages. But to know that we grew up together is a very beautiful thing, because it's rare. Usually, like now, not usually, but now people are meeting through these apps and they're significantly older, either in their mid 20s or mid 30s. But to know that this man has been in my life for the past 16 years consistently is just beautiful to me. And I love it. And I want my kids to know about that, and to know that this was a developing relationship, and it evolved from kind of kids growing up together to now working through their relationships and working through their marriage together and never leaving each other's side. Was it easy? Absolutely not. We dated for 6 years before we got engaged. We never lived together until we were married. So for 6 years, to know that we're going back home at the end of the night and sleeping in our own beds and not together was special to me. And I appreciated him for that too, for being traditional in that sense of not pressuring me to move in, because I know it was hard on him to be a man in your 20s, 21, through 29 and having this girlfriend and not living together. Like, he was saving up money. He could have moved out on his own, but he wanted to wait for me. And of course I had, my own personal things going on. I was like diagnosed with my own autoimmune disease at this time. I was in and out of school because of this. I took a gap year from college. I graduated late from college. So he was with me through that and was very patient and supportive to stick by me and not pressure me to move in or have kids early enough. Like, we both grew up in the church, which I think his mom or his family kind of appreciated, knowing that I also grew up in the church, and our moms also knew of each other. Our families knew of each other, which is so weird. Like, my town is very small. Everyone knows everyone. Like I said, I knew of my brother-in-law who I met with my husband that same day just because I've seen him around, but my cousin went to school with both of them. My dad was his cousin's coworker or boss at one point, and I would get my hair done at her house, at my husband's aunt's house when I was a little girl, not knowing who my husband was. I never ran into him, but I was running into people that knew him. My mom knew his mom through church. They were in the same church group. So when I was telling my mom that, like, I like this boy, and when my parents found out his family last name, it was just like, oh, I know his family. We know of his family. He's a good guy. He's a good kid. And it was just like, it was weird. I'm like, okay, you guys knew of each other, but whatever. But it was just like, maybe fate was supposed to happen this way. And also, I appreciate that we come from the same background. We're both Haitian. And I don't think I could have been with someone, especially in marriage, with someone outside of my ethnic background. To each their own. I have nothing against that, but he understands where I'm coming from with my mentality, with my thinking, and now with raising kids. He understood it. He understood like how my parents are kind of on me at a young 20-year-old girl coming home late and having the stern talk like it's not appropriate to stay at a boy's house this late. How, the whole thing, like, how does it seem to his parents and his family, whatever. But he understood that when I was complaining about it. Like, Haitians have a different standard, especially, as sad as to say, when it comes to girls, that double standard, which is a whole nother topic. But he understood where they're coming from. The jokes were funnier. We could speak in the same language in our broken Creole. Like, our banter was just funnier because he understood. He came and we're from the same community. And it's just very weird how we both grew up in the same town. Like, our parents' houses are walking distance from each other, but we never ran into each other before until that day at camp. Very, very interesting. I guess it's fate. Every love story is beautiful, but ours is my favorite. Thank you, Summer '09, for bringing this man into my life. That's a throwback to my Facebook status at the end of that summer. Again, Facebook was a different time, and that's what I wrote. So I'm very grateful for meeting my husband when I did back in June. And that, kids, is How I Met Your Father, which was a great show, by the way. It's so sad that it was canceled on Hulu. But that's my love story on how I met my husband 16 years ago. And this week we're celebrating 15 years of dating. So to my husband, happy 6, babe, and I love you. We're that corny couple. It is what it is. Let us be. I would love to hear from you guys of your love story, how you met your partner, how you met your significant other. I love love, and I love to hear about these love stories and how families came to be. The world is heavy out there. There's a lot of things going on. But if you just sit for a moment and reminisce, it's just great to reminisce. It just gives me such a great feeling, and I think it will do the same thing too. So I would love to hear from you guys if you want to share. Also, if there's anything else that you want to share or discuss or any topics you want me to cover, I am all ears. So please send a DM. You can send emails to balancingthescalespodcast@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you guys, your thoughts, your comments, your views, feedback, all of it. So please do. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I will talk to you in the next episode. And as always, the scales may tip, but you're still standing. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Balancing the Scales with Tammy A. Make sure you follow us on all socials at balancingthescales.pod. See you in the next episode.